Be careful what you wish for. The Instagram life, fancy cars, expensive clothes, mansions, jewelry, weaves, overseas holidays. The ultimate champagne lifestyle could be yours if you are pretty enough, muscled enough, but all for a price. So, how much is your soul worth? Let's get started. Good evening and welcome to the Democracy Gauge. I'm Bongani Bingwa. Blessers and Blesees, sugar mamas and bentens. Tonight, we highlight the growing trend of transactional relationships in which wealthy, older, usually men, but some women too, target younger partners ostensibly for love but with certain T's and C's. Longing for the good life and easy money, the younger partners are at their beck and call. But the so-called slay kings and queens don't mind, as long as they can flash their designer lifestyle, becoming social media celebrities adored by followers who like every post. So out with old-fashioned hard work, in with the bling culture. Of course, for some, the story doesn't have a happy ending. So on our poll question tonight, we're asking, in pursuit of a flamboyant and opulent lifestyle, has our value system degenerated? You can choose three colors. Green is for yes, yellow is for maybe, and red is for no. You can interact with our poll topic on Facebook and Twitter, remembering to use the hashtags SABCDG25 and hashtag SABC News. You can also send us a WhatsApp video 065 862 4548. Now, transactional relationships have been around since time immemorial, but the Blesees culture has taken this phenomenon to new levels. What was once an open secret now has websites dedicated to those who want some of the action. It may be mainstream now, but at what cost to our society and moral fiber? Our Lindiwe Mabena has this report.
Growing up in South Africa during apartheid, most black families were poor. And we were taught about the importance of education and working hard to make a decent living. Fast forward to democratic South Africa, things have changed. Fortunes turned for many who would otherwise be trapped in the cycle of poverty. The right connections to those in power have become lucrative, with cronies getting tenders and powerful posts in the public sector. However, this also came with another baggage. Opulence and class became the order of the day. Young people fed up with heartbreaks, some armed with financial need, a hunger for success, fame, and a love for finer things, started using their beauty for cash. They even compromised their values, engaging in threesomes just to please their blessers. Slay queens make thousands of rand for appearances in clubs. And those who engage in transactional sex are often pampered with expensive alcohol, gifts, and cash by their lovers, or rather, smile keepers, as they are sometimes referred to. Social rights activist Lebo Ramafoko says there's nothing new about this trend.
Perhaps what has changed is the fact that the things that were happening before are accelerated by access to media and access to the fact that what maybe one or two people were doing and maybe society was frowning upon it, it seems to be out there because, you could be in a restaurant, and instead of being seen by the 50 people who are in that restaurant with you, you are then seen by 5,000 followers.
Ramafoko says the lifestyle some of these women have chosen has nothing to do with the decline in South Africa's moral fiber, but has patriarchy written all over it.
There's a lot of women who are making those decisions even when they don't have the long Brazilian hair, when they are sitting in suburbs, their kids are going to private schools, and they are, different women. They are in these marriages that many people know don't work. Many people know what their husbands are doing, and they are staying, and they are exchanging sex for staying in that lifestyle. Even if they themselves could afford to give them a lifestyle like that, but they stay for different reasons. And those are the results of patriarchy.
That report, of course, by our Lindiwe Mabena. Now, our next guest tells us that in fact this lifestyle can be a trap. Because after years of homelessness and being sexually violated, she tried to commit suicide after failing to end an unhealthy relationship with an older married man who had become her blesser. She's the author of a book called Bear. Her name is Jackie Pamotse, and she joins us now in the studio. Jackie, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for coming to the studio and talking to us about your experience.
Thank you for having me.
How did you find yourself in a position where you were a Bleesee?
I think it's really not that unorthodox. It's you dating a person who has money and you are introduced to this person through a social circle. Back in the day, this is now 2011 to 2012, social media was not as big as it is now. So you had to really go to the houses to go meet, or a golf club or a sporting event to meet this type of people. It was not as it is now. So that's how I met mine.
Did you know that's exactly what you were doing? Would you have called yourself a Bleesee in those days?
No, as a girl dating a guy, in other terms they called it a sugar daddy relationship. So I was just merely dating a guy, and because of his appearance, he didn't seem to be as old as I would have anticipated. That he being a sporting person, he played golf and he did other things.
He was active.
Yes, he was very active. So I didn't really look at his age, but within that relationship, that's when I really found out how old he is. So it was just me dating an older person.
Describe the relationship.
Sure, abusive, obsessive, very compulsive in nature. That was the person I was with, and yes, very wealthy and had powerful social circles. But most of the time, I found myself very depressed and unhappy, and I couldn't really travel on my own to whether it be family or go to friends' places. He was quite possessive.
What did he provide?
Financial stability, I think, because at that time I was a model. I was very young. I was in my I was 19, 20, early 20s. And I was also studying marketing. So for a girl like me who comes from Western area and has a background that comes from Lesotho, we didn't really have much. We went house hopping from different places back in the 90s. And so for me to experience somebody who had everything was a wow. It was like me looking for a father figure in somebody that was not. Yeah.
What did he expose you to that you weren't familiar with?
Well, international travel, social circles that were extremely elite.
You hung out with the rich and powerful.
Yes, I did. Sexual cults.
What do you mean, sexual cults?
Sexual cults. In our lives, or the lives of rich people or girls who date rich people, you are forced into illegal proceedings. For an example, in my situation, I was forced into an illegal abortion, and then that fetus was used for traditional medicine to help him sustain his power. That's what his belief was.
I ask you all of this detail because, you know, someone who looks at that life from the outside, I mean, if we fast forward to today and social media, Instagram, and they see the pictures, it's easy for someone to be even envious of the slay kings and the slay queens.
Absolutely. I mean, I have spoken to a couple of slay queens and sugar daddies and people who are still in the circle, and for them it's still a lifestyle. It's what they're bound to and what they enjoy, and for a person who's really looking outside inwards, they are envying the life because of how it's perceived and what they show online.
What made you say, not for me, I want to leave? When was that moment?
I had been in that relationship for about 3 years, and I had already met his inner circles, and I've seen the way he handles his business. And because of the multiple near-death experience that I had, I just decided one day that it is enough. Because, I mean, for a person who would force an illegal abortion on you, how much do they really love you? So I had to weigh my options on, do I stay or do I die in the process of trying to live this life and being unable to maintain my mental health.
Was it as easy as deciding to leave?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think a lot of people have seen how my life turned out after that. There was a lot of there was a lot of him trying to find me, death threats, him sending people to my home to vandalize the home.
Showing you that he owns you?
Yes, showing you that I can find you wherever you are nothing. I will show you that you cannot succeed without me. I'm very close to what you think you could possibly be. I'll completely wipe you out of Gauteng if you have to move back to Lesotho if that's the case.
I mean, essentially, when you're in these relationships, the person, in a way, gets to a point where they own you. Jack, I'm going to ask you to stay a little bit longer. We're going to have more of this conversation. That's exactly what it looks like on the outside, but not everything that glitters is gold. After the break, we'll gauge your views on whether you think this means our value system as a society has degenerated. Stay tuned.
Every year, more and more people all around the country are saving money on their car insurance. Let's meet some of them.
I work for a car dealership. Many of my clients that buy cars have to sort out their insurance.
Yes.
And hearing from them on a daily basis how much money they save from our insurance, I had to make the call myself.
Your clients switched you, the car dealer. How much did you end up saving?
Just over 300 Rand a month. Switch up now, going into the new year.
Yeah.
2019, make it yours.
Yeah.
As we say, 2019.
Oh, it hits the spot. 2019. If you think it's a hassle getting a quote, put us to the test. Call or SMS now for a quick quote and make 2019 your time to save. SMS SAVE to 34473.
Well, I'm doing my articles in chartered accountancy, so I have financial knowledge. What she said just made sense, so we switched and saved.
How much did you end up saving?
Almost 450 Rand.
You guys have children yet?
No, but the mother-in-law is pushing very hard.
If you can convince your mom-in-law to switch and save, that'll get you 1,000 Rand off of your next monthly premium. With the money she saves, it's a win-win situation.
Mother Frida, if you want babies, you must switch and save.
Yo! If you've been with the same insurer for years and haven't recently put OutSurance to the test, call or SMS now and make 2019 your time to save. SMS SAVE to 34473.
It was a simple telephone call, informed him of the basics. I had an accident. With most insurance, once you've had an accident, they increase your premium. And then when he told me this is what the premium he would be, are you sure? Did you hear that I had an accident?
How much did you end up saving?
Half of my previous premium, almost 500 Rand. Start your year off on the right foot. Queen of... Oh, no.
They've all saved. Why shouldn't you? SMS SAVE to 34473 and make 2019 your time to save.
So what happened is I made the phone call and I asked Olisa to just call me back. He explained everything to me, a meaningful conversation.
How much did you actually end up saving?
Almost 750 Rand. That's how I switched and saved. But I'm glad our paths crossed.
We could make an OutSurance connection here. Have you and Olisa gone out on a date or something?
No, it was just insurance.
Oh, is it your time?
Yeah, it's my time.
Just think what you could do with the money you save. SMS SAVE to 34473. 2019, it's your time to save. How did your path with OutSurance cross?
And I saw this advert about this guy, Chacha. So Mr. Chacha got me thinking, if I do switch and save, I won't just do the Chacha, I'll be doing the Tango.
And the difference that you're now saving?
Is just over 900 Rand.
In 3 words, summarize your experience.
Smart, professional, and they saved me money.
You know that last one was like 4 words.
I know, but that's how good they are.
SMS SAVE to 34473 and make 2019 your time to save.
Welcome back. It's all about you here on the Democracy Gauge. Now, the People's View allows you to interact with us live and to share your views candidly. We've been asking you to send us WhatsApp videos, and this is what some of you had to say.
Known to everyone in the studio and of course the viewers. You know, we grew up listening to American music and we used to enjoy watching those Western movies. That has in a way affected us. I mean, look at our ladies these days. They cannot even go out without Brazilian hair on their heads. So we need to find a way to make our own African culture fashionable.
Some of the belief that our value system in South Africa is degenerated. This is caused by the fancy lifestyle that is being promoted in the media and social media. I believe now people on the quick, they want to take and have everything now.
We lost our morals and respect. We lost our sense of fashion. We overdo things in the community. We lost our culture as society. Media is the foul culture of doing things. Because we do things without thinking for our upcoming youth. We promoting foul culture in social media.
I think we do on our side try to support our local culture in any way we can. However, we seem to be misled by the social media. People are going for all the social ills. We don't respect ourselves. We don't value ourselves.
Ms. Tiani Magamu. Speaking of the degeneration of a value system is a bit far-fetched in my opinion. Firstly, because a value system is not fixed or static, and values are personal to each individual. I believe that each person should be whoever they want to be, practice whatever they want to practice, and live whichever lifestyle they find fitting for themselves, provided that their actions are not detrimental to themselves or the next person.
But can everyone live with those choices? That's the question before us. Welcome back then to our discussion. We're joined, of course, now also by clinical psychologist Gianna to the show. Thank you very much for joining us in Kosi Gianna, and of course author Jackie Phamotse. You heard, Kosi, what Jackie's story was all about. Just the idea that so much of this life looks attractive on the outside, but once you're inside, as Jackie calls it, it's a trap, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I think, it's the proverbial city lights story. Everybody has left their rural areas in search of a better life, and the city lights have always represented that. But what people have never understood is what happens under that dark, bright light. And very often it's very dark underneath that. And, we've seen so many people's lives playing out in a glamorous way on the superficial, but when you scratch the surface, the reality is far different and far more scary than
Here's the thing that sometimes I find fascinating is that it's not every person who is from a poor background who gets trapped into this life. Quite often, some of the people are from middle-class backgrounds. They went to good schools. They fit in quite easily in the lifestyle of the rich and famous. How do you explain that?
Well, the issue is a lot complex in that nothing that we can say will account for every situation, and there are nuances to every person's experience in that sometimes it's psychosocial. In other words, it's part of what's happening in the system, in the family system, and other times it's much more personal issues in terms of how a person experiences what we see as wealth. There are many children that come from high level, socioeconomic level families, but what happens within the family is that there is no love, there is no validation. The basic things that they need, they don't get, because parents have to be out there to be, supporting their lifestyle. And so it looks like they've got everything simply because they've got the financials, but it's not.
So in a way, Jackie, it's superficial to look at it just purely as about the transaction. There's so much more that goes into the relationship. You described your former blesser, as a kind of father figure in a way.
Absolutely. A lot of families are very broken, and because mothers and fathers are either working double jobs and studying and trying to improve their lives, yes, they may have money, but they may not have the love and the attention that would give a normal child, as opposed to a person who is in the rural area who's consistently there. So you see young people just falling prey to these things on a daily basis, and because we are more open about talking about it, it's not as taboo anymore. People find it as very attracting to say, okay, I've got a blazer, I've got 4. This one caters for accommodation, this one for travel, this one is for entertainment, that one is for sex. They just have multiple because of their lifestyle.
So you described the difficulties in getting away. How did you finally do it?
Shoot, I had to get family intervention. Luckily, my family has somewhat of a political inclination and a military background, so we had to find people in Lesotho to make sure that I come out.
Kosi, For parents who are watching our conversation, who see their child attracted by the fancy lights, Instagram, who feel powerless, who think, but I am involved in my child's life, but I feel powerless, I can't compete with what this world offers.
Yeah.
What can they do?
I think, you know, the challenge for parents is that so much else is competing with you to parent your child. And because we have become so materialized, that it becomes so difficult for a parent to argue for delayed gratification. And studies over the years have proven that the one quality that sustains us through difficulties, many of us will come from very poor backgrounds, but once we can delay the gratification, because it's about getting it and getting it now. And unfortunately, we live now in a world where everything is instantaneous. You know, social media has made everything, the world is in the palm of your hand. You just click, everything is available. And it looks like that's how everything should be. And so people have forgotten about the process of achieving things, to work hard to earn things. And it is about teaching those basics. And you as well as a parent, creating those boundaries for your child. Don't expect the world to give to your child what you haven't given.
What ought we expect from the world? We're talking about tonight whether or not our society has degenerated in terms of our sense of morality. What should this world, what should we be thinking about 25 years into our democracy?
Yeah, I think we need to be able to project the life we are creating now. What are the consequences down the line? What does it mean for society? How do we define? Everything is being redefined because just everything is evolving, everything is moving. And it's very easy for us to try and want to hold on to things. But a lot of what the family as a nuclear family that used to have control over their kids, now we are parented by everything beyond that. And so it is so much more important for the foundation to be laid for a child so that they can at least draw on that, because you will not stop what is happening outside of society, in that values are changing constantly. That is happening.
Jackie, I'm asking Kosi to talk about what the parents should do, but there are many slay kings and queens, as they're often called, who will watch our conversation and they'll think, well, that's Jackie's story. I'm in control of my situation. I will make sure I don't end up like Jackie, but I can beat this thing. What do you say to those people?
Everybody has an agenda for your life. As soon as you go into a relationship or an agreement with somebody, it does not matter what your agenda is, they also have an agenda. So you might think that, okay, I'm going to quickly go in, get that bag, get that travel, and then come out. They might say, no, you're actually here for the long haul, or you have witnessed something that I don't want you to expose, so therefore you'll stay. And I think it's important for us to really find our own value direction, our own moral compass within society, because you can be lured into anything, whether it's money laundering, human trafficking, a sugar daddy, it does not matter. But if you have a strong moral compass on your own, then you can dictate your own rules as you go on.
For so many, they're so easily replaceable because there's someone else ready to take your place. Thank you very much, Jackie Phamotsi, and of course, Kosi Giane, for being part of my conversation. Now, when we return, we will be looking at this week in 1994. We'll be profiling Tsepo Storm, a young fashion designer who started his own label from his home in Meadowlands in Soweto. Stay tuned.
SABC is the official broadcaster of AFCON 2019, Africa's beautiful story.
We stay on the visuals, they're busy shooting.
We drove around this.
Right, as the Democracy Gauge reviews our 25 years of this democracy, we also dig deep into the SABC's archives to reflect on just how far we have come. This week in 1994, South Africa signed an agreement with the Commonwealth Development Corporation.
ungqongqoshe wezezimali kuleli umnumzana Derek Keys usayine isivumelwano nongqongqoshe wezimboni ohwebe eBrithani umnumzana Michael Hazelton namuhla ePitoli. Lesivumelwano ke sayiniwe ngaphansi kwe-Commonwealth Development Corporation sivumela le nhlangano ukuba isebenze ngokusemthethweni kuleli zwe.
The confidence that we have in South Africa rests in the resources of the country, of the determination of its government to pursue the right policies, and all the right reassuring comments have been made.
So much has changed. Now, through the Democracy Gauge, SABC News profiles a different South African and their assessment of 25 years of democracy. Today, we're in Soweto. We meet a young fashion designer, Tshepo Storm. In 2005, he started his own fashion label called Broken Storm from his home.
My name is Tshepo Storm. I'm from Soweto, Middlelands, Zone 1, and I'm a fashion designer. My label is called Broken Storm. It began 2002 when I went to Wits, Technicon by then, now UJ, where I studied clothing management since 2002 when I finished in 2005. Since from then I've been self-employed. In 2002, the face of fashion was not as bright as today's fashion, right? More people were skeptical into going to fashion designers to go place orders, you know. More people, communities, people actually preferred to go to shops, get ready to wear stuff. But compared to today, people are more open to come to us. There's more designers, right? There's more competition, and there's Chinese market. On the other hand, now we compete with Chinese markets. Now we're competing with Nigerians, our African brothers, you know, who can do things cheaper. I think that's where we're supposed to start explaining that not everything that's cheaper is the best quality. You know, somebody might come to me and I'll charge them 4 or 5 grand for a dress, then tell me that no, that's very expensive, and rather go to some African brother or African sister, or somebody who is willing to do that same dress for 1,500, but not realizing that the fabric and the quality of those two garments are not the same. But balela mutlakase, balela service delivery, gore ha ba ya ditliniki manese ha ba tshware hantle.
That is the story of Tshepo Storm, and his reflection on democracy was a maybe. Well, thank you for watching. As we leave, of course, the results, there they are on your screen. That's how you voted this evening. And that's it for tonight's Democracy Gauge from me, Bongani Bingwa, and the team. Until the next time, ubusuku benzolo. Good night.